We're going to take a moment from the celebrations, though, to update you on some of the more serious things that have been happening today, later on in the day. We have Constable Hopkinson from Toronto Police on the line with us now. Good afternoon, Constable.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm very good. What can you tell us about the very latest situation with the shooting that was just behind Nathan Phillips Square?
Well, it's at about 2:35. We received a call for a shooting at Bay and Albert. So that's just a bit north of Queen on Bay Street. We had reports that a woman had been shot. Now, we had a significant amount of resources in the area. Our officers responded quickly. They got to the scene. They found actually 2 victims suffering from gunshot wounds. Although their injuries were serious, they were not considered life-threatening, and the officers were able to get medical attention to them quickly. Subsequent to that, we had officers arrest 2 people and recover 2 firearms. So we don't believe there's any threat to public safety any longer, and we are continuing our investigation.
And Constable, what about the situation at the Eaton Centre? What can you tell us about that?
I'm not sure what's happening at the Eaton Centre. The unfortunate part about information is sometimes it gets out and people have the wrong information. I don't know if there was anything that was actually going on in the Eaton Centre or if it was just people responding to false reports. I've been told that the Eaton Centre, portion of the Eaton Centre was evacuated. That is not something that we caused or asked. You would have to speak to the Eaton Centre if that happened and their decision-making on that.
Okay, so aside from these 2 incidents, what can you tell us in terms of, we know that there was a massive crowd packed into Nathan Phillips Square. We heard many people who said that they were running out of water and they were having difficulties. Were many people transported to hospital simply because of the crush of people and the lack of water?
So that's a difficult question to answer because I can only get those numbers if I compile information from reports from all of our teams involved. I don't believe we'll be able to compile those reports, I wouldn't imagine, until tomorrow afternoon or something like that. We have to compile reports from all of our teams, and it will listen, there's still a vast amount of people in the downtown core, so we still have officers there to keep the peace, to help or encourage people to celebrate, but to do so responsibly. So we are still going to be continuing with our patrols and monitoring the crowds, as the celebration continues.
And what about missing children? The Toronto Police Service put out a tweet saying any missing children, we're going to send them to 52 Division. That's where you should go to find your children. Have you had missing children show up there or taken there?
So we've learned from the past, and we know that when you have large crowds such as this, sometimes parents are separated from their kids, and often the kids are returned or they go to police officers. So we wanted to put out information, in case somebody was missing their child or, the child went missing, this is where they would be, 52 Division at 255 Dundas Street. We wanted to give people a place where they could call to check if their child was there, and we do that preemptively. We want to make sure that we have all of our systems in place to try and help the public, given, some of the things that we've seen in the past.
Okay, and I'll just take a moment to read this tweet. Radin Amari, I'm not sure I pronounced that right, 11 years old, lost his mom inside the Eaton Centre. He's safe. Please contact me. So hopefully that person can send that young boy to Toronto 52 Division, excuse me.
Yeah,
52
Division, and from the Eaton Centre, 52 Division is only, 4 or 5 blocks away. If they can't bring the child to 52 Division, call our non-emergency number and, let the dispatcher know that you found a child that's missing, and we'll send an officer there as soon as we free up our resources.
Okay, now, thousands of people, presumably hundreds of thousands of people, still have to get home now. And we know earlier in the day at least 3 subway stations were closed because they were over capacity. Are you concerned about how this city, this massive exodus is going to take place?
You know what? I believe that we have in place the mechanism to deal with this crowd. Although the subway stations were closed, in the downtown core, the subway stations are about a block or 2 apart. Right. So all people had to do was go from, it was Osgood Station that was closed. They could go down to, St. Patrick or, the station south of there and join there. It was only because the station had so many people it was overcrowded. Now, we don't just have subways. We have streetcars. We have buses. You can ride share, you can take a taxi, and it's a beautiful June day. Maybe people might consider walking out of the downtown core before they, start using public transit or taxis or, things like that.